same time as well, Islamic banks were just born in the world, in the contemporary world, and therefore they need to survive. So there are many limitations that they face, and therefore you can see in the literature huge amount of studies talking about the divergence between what is theorized, what is expected of Islamic finance or Islamic banking at that time, and the reality practices. Okay. In fact, there was a round table discussion among the pioneers of Islamic economics. Professor Rijatullah Siddiqui, I remember Professor Saifuddin Barikuddin, Muhammad Fahid Khan. They had this round table discussion, and during that round table discussion, we talked about the progress so far. Professor Rijatullah Siddiqui presented a paper entitled "What Went Wrong." It means that from the 70s up to 2004, things were not happening according to what they have expected. They expected certain things, but it did not materialize. So they were asking themselves, or they were asking everyone else as well, what went wrong? That Islamic banks, which were supposed to do all the things that we want to do, we want to achieve. If we talk about Islamic economics, what would be the ultimate goal is to promote the well-being of the people, to promote socio-economic justice. So these are the things that we want Islamic banks to do, but because of certain things, this did not happen. Right? So I'm basically covering the literature because one of the things that we want from this training camp is to convince you to do a research on the area that will benefit the ummah or through Islamization of knowledge. Right? But after knowing all of you from the first night that you came, only 2 persons qualified to join this training camp. The 2 persons were Mata. Sister Mata, you have yet to have a topic, right? Mata. And then another brother. Was it Ibrahim?
One that doesn't have the title.
These are the only 2 that to be qualified to enter training camp. The rest are overqualified. They are qualified. They are overqualified. They are overqualified. Some are already teaching, some are already publishing, some are already writing their thesis. Right? So that's why what I'm trying to do here is to cover as much ground as possible. Because some of you have known many of these issues, and therefore it will be a waste if you do not gain anything from this session. And so I'm trying to cover as much issue, as much literature as possible. But knowing the time, so I need to speed up. Okay, so from the 80s and 90s, as Islamic finance becomes larger and larger, not only in terms of the size of the asset, but also in terms of the nature of the product, the instruments are becoming more and more variety. So we see the increasing divergence between what is anticipated by the founding fathers of Islamic economics and what is actually in practice in the industry. One of the criticisms is the nature of the mission of the Islamic financial institution. Even though they are based on Sharia principle, all things must be Sharia compliant, but in terms of their business philosophy,
it is not any different from a firm in the capitalistic economy. Yeah? So the study by the salary, it showed that most of the banks, their mission is to maximize shareholders' value. Maximize shareholders' value. So this is exactly the same terminology that is used by all corporations. So what is the niche, or what is the different in terms of the spirit? We are talking, mission is the spirit of the organization. If we have the same spirit, the same ultimate aim of other firms, then what is the difference between you and other corporations in terms of the soul? In terms of the day-to-day operation, yes, we have Sharia compliant, we have the Sharia compliant officer, we have the Sharia advisory committee, and so on. But in terms of the soul, okay. And then what else? Okay, what happened to equity-based model? Because when the founding fathers proposed Islamic bank or Islamic finance, everything was done through equity base, because you want to replace the contemporary system at that time, which is capitalistic, debt-based, interest-based financial system. So you want to replace that with something that is more socially oriented, equity-based and risk-sharing model. But when you have banks operating, they are all operating on the basis of debt-like instruments. So you cannot see musyarakah mudarabah anywhere. You can only see musyarakah mudarabah in the reference material, in the proposal of these founding fathers. But when it comes into the industry, these are not taken up. Even if they are taken up, it will be very small. What else? Prohibition-based sector. So another question that Professor Mijatullah Siddiqui, why I keep mentioning his name, because our current Prime Minister mentioned his name during the budget presentation last year. In one of the speeches, so he talked about Islamic bank and he mentioned Mijatullah Siddiqui. So I also mentioned his name here. So Mijatullah Siddiqui was saying, what is the problem with the thinking of the people in the industry, as well as the thinking of the Sharia advisors? What is the thinking? The thinking is, okay, you remove interest. Of riba, right? Even if, let's say, I lend you money and after this I ask you to give me, right? So that's already considered riba, right? But we are talking about the interest in the bank. So the moment you remove interest, everything will fall into places. We will have, we will prosper. Everything will be taken care of. Removing riba is only one aspect of the whole development process. So this is like, some people talk about fighting for Islam, right? So that as long as we follow Quran and Sunnah, we will be successful. But when they got power, when they want to come up with a policy, now how you translate Quran and Sunnah into policy? The details are not there. So you can say that, oh, we just follow Quran and Sunnah. So how do you want to translate following Quran and Sunnah into coming up with a university model that can nurture or nourish the soul and build a strong human resource for the Ummah? So those details are not there. So it means that one aspect is to remove all the prohibition, but there's another aspect. Another aspect. Example, when we talk about Maqasid Syariah, Ibn Taymiyyah, for example, he said that people are talking about removing harm, removing harm, removing harm. But removing harm is only one half of the equation. Promoting what is good is the other half. Right? So you need to do a lot of things. Just removing one prohibition from the whole system will only be the starting point. So you need to also add other things as well. Okay, what else? Okay, so that's why many scholars are talking about Sharia base. What is the difference between Sharia base and Sharia compliant? Sharia compliant, we only look at whether it is permissible from the faith point of view, right? And Sharia base, we look at the broader picture. Because when people talk about Sharia, especially in Islamic finance, people will focus on the fiqh details. Whereas, if you learn the religion, when we discuss Sharia, it's more than that, right? It's more than that. Sharia covers a lot of things. But when it comes to Islamic finance, the Sharia means as long as it is permissible, halal, harus, mubah, then it's fine. So other things are not important. So that's why we have that proliferation that is increasing in the name of Islamic finance. Because there's no problem taking that because it's Sharia compliant. And then you are using Bayadina and organized our. So these are all things which are technically permissible, and if you are just following the Sharia compliant method, then this is perfectly fine. But if you look at the consequences, okay, yes, this is Sharia compliant, everything is good, but is it good for our people to have high level of debt? For example, in Malaysia, household debt is very high. 80% of GDP in Malaysia, that represents how much households are in debt. In fact, corporations are even worse, more than 90%. Not sure about here in Indonesia, but Malaysia, in terms of the percentage to GDP, will probably be higher, because we are also among the highest Asia, right? So these are some of the points. Okay, money creation. Okay, a lot of discussion look at the things which are downstream in nature. But we also need to, for example, towards the just monetary system by Professor Omar Chapra, talk about money creation. Because if we look at producers, people are selling goods and services. Everybody is producing something. But what banks is selling? Bank is selling money. Right? Does the bank produce money? Creates money through the process of the money creation. Because of the fractional reserve system that we have, banks has the ability to create money. But that money, they don't have to produce, like if you, let's say you want to sell sayur, vegetables, right? You need to produce them, right? Takes some time, right? Look after, or the water and so on. Only you are able to sell. Even services. Let's say you are selling education, you need to send for accreditation and so on. You are actually having certain things which are tangible. But banks, there's another misunderstanding, especially among the undergraduate students. When people ask you where the bank gets the money to give loans. Yeah. So most of the time they will say that okay, the depositors are giving the bank some money, depositing the money, and they use that money to give out loans. So I was asking them, have you ever been to the bank trying to withdraw your money, and the bank manager said, oh, I'm sorry, Sister Amrin, I'm sorry, we have given your money to Mr. Ismail. Yeah, he wanted to buy a car, so we have used that money to give Mr. Ismail some loan. That never happened, right?
Never.
Right? So your balance remains there, but the borrower gets some money in the account. So that money is created. Right? So why the bank has this power to create money? Because the government gives the license for this bank to operate. Right? And the banks operate in the fractional reserve system. So according to Professor Omar Chapra, this has huge amount of benefits. Yeah, we call these significant benefits. Right? So if the banks are getting huge amount of benefits, making a lot of money, and the ability to make this money comes from the government, why should the government cannot take some portion of that profits? Yeah. For example, Professor Omar Chapra is saying that the ability of the banks to create money is given by the government. The government is a representative of the people. Right? So if the bank makes money, share that profit with the government, and the government can use that money for the benefit of the people. At the moment, banks are making billions of money, causing this is caused by collapse of banks, due to the greed of these bankers and making money and more money at the expense of the people. Okay. Okay, this is also another issue. Yeah. At that time, Islamic banks were trying to maintain their profitability because it's just on. Therefore, they wanted to prove something. So they play safe, by keeping away from people who are risky. Yeah. So this is one of the accusation against them. Yeah. And then the most important principle in Islamic finance is that the return in the financial market is determined by the return in the real sector. If your investment makes money, then the investor will make money. However, we look at the current situation, even when the contract is called musyarakah contract, there will still be mechanism in which the return can be fixed. For example, in Malaysia we have mudarabah investment placement between the banks. Of course, there's a ratio between in terms of the two banks, 70-30 or 60-40. And then, but ultimately, because of the requirement of the central bank that all banks need to disclose their gross rate of return every month. So if you make placement within that period of time, so income is fixed. And then you also have, for example, sukuk musyarakah. Remember, some of you are in finance, right? In 2008, what happened? Tapi Osmani declared that more than 80% of sukuk musyarakah in the global market is within this haram, right? Why? Because it's a sukuk musyarakah, but everything in the contract is not musyarakah. So they are fixed return given for those sukuk, right? Okay, it is not only among the industry players, but the problem also exists among the clients or customers of banks, Islamic banks. You want Islamic bank, you want it cheap, and you want to earn as much return as possible. So you get all the good things, But if they say the return in conventional bank or conventional investment is higher, I will switch my funds to conventional funds, conventional investment. Or if the financing rate charged by Islamic bank is higher, I'm not convinced I will go to the conventional bank because it's cheaper. Yeah? So the behavioral norms of the clients or the customers of the bank are also a problem. Yeah? You want Islamic bank, but you are not willing to lose a penny. Yeah? So this is some of the issues related to Islamic finance. Yeah? Okay. This is something that I want to revisit later. Yeah? When we talk about all those issues earlier, we are able to identify those issues into different areas. Yeah? Some are downstream, some are more fundamental. Yeah? For example, the concept of money, the nature of money creation, these are very fundamental. Yeah? The philosophy, the business philosophy of financial institution, these are more fundamental. When you go down, yeah, for example, how a bank or how financial institution, right? Who are their customers? Yeah? So these are all important areas of research, right? But when you look at, for example, nowadays there are many articles using systematic literature review, right? So they use a certain Google keywords, yeah? And then they search for articles in Scopus or in Web of Science, right? So but most of the themes of the research are related to the downstream methods. Okay, can I ask some of you who are, I remember there's an Islamic finance group. Was it group 6? Yes. What is your topic?
For those in your group, please. Right? How Sukuk can be used to promote SDG, right? Somebody else? Anything on Islamic finance? Yes. You need to be quick because I still have how many slides? This is slide number 2. Okay. Yes.
Our group is related to Islamic banking practices aspect.
Okay. Sister Amrin, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is something that is very, very important, but not many people are taking it up.
Yes.
Similarly, with topics like philosophical foundations of Islamic economics, epistemology, ontology, axiology, yeah. Only Dr. Hafaz is willing. So because of that, the things which are fundamental, yeah, are not taken care of. Yeah. Because this is not something that is easy for people to do. It's easy for people to do quantitative analysis when you run. Yeah. We say that, riba is haram, interest rate is haram. So how come you can have move? Okay, as a summary to this component, this second component of my presentation, there was an initial denial syndrome among the industry players in the beginning. They don't do. Of course, they also have their own difficulties and so on. They are just established and they wanted to be able to prove something, that Islamic banks can also be profitable. Islamic banks can also be giving high return on investment and so on. Islamic banks can also have low default. But that is at the expense of the overall goal of the institution, because the institution was established on the basis of Sharia principle, in which the goal of the Sharia or the maqasid of Sharia should be the ultimate priority. But this has been neglected at that time in order to build the needed reputation. Ranking game. You want to be ranked higher in what US or times, so you follow their game. If they want this indicator to be high, so you spend a lot of money on that indicator, in order for you to have a good ranking and for you to be recognized. But if you are already a very well established university, for example IIUM, not sure how established, but we are able to ignore this ranking. But if you are, so we can understand the position of those bankers at that time. So they want to show profitability, sustainability, and they are using indicators of Western banking. But later, when the discussion on maqasid came into the picture, then people started to accept. But this is not immediately. In fact, there are many Sharia scholars who are looking it from the halal haram aspect. If this is halal, there are two options. This is halal, both are halal. So if you are taking this compared to this, you are not getting any more pahala, the same pahala as long as it is halal. So this creates some problem, because bankers, when they propose some products, ultimately the Sharia advisor will say whether this is good or not. I have a friend who is a Sharia advisor of a bank, right? And this person is very proactive, looking at how banks can create more value for the people, right? So one of the things that they try to do is to come up with an equity-based financing. But when a very big short scholar came to the bank, and these people are trying to get his opinion on the product that they are currently discussing. So this big shot just said, this is halal, the other one is also halal. So in other words, why you are doing so much if the power is the same, if the reward is the same. So just like, if you drink this water, your thirst will be quenched. If you drink orange juice, your thirst will be quenched as well. So why bother to go and pick the orange and make orange juice? Right? So this has caused, but Alhamdulillah, later he changed his position. Now he said that, okay, we are going for maqasid, we are going for social welfare. Similarly, with previously in Islamic finance, there was two competing models. I'm not sure whether you are familiar with this. The Chapra model and the Ismail model. Have you heard about this? Chapra refers to Professor Omar Chapra. Ismail refers to Dato Abdul Halim Ismail. One is a Chapra professor, founding father of Islamic economics. The other one is a banker. So the banker say that we are a bank, we are not a charity institution. Our role is to survive in the market and provide Sharia compliant services to our people. If we do all this charity, if we do all this equity-based financing, if we collapse, then we are not doing justice to our client. Our client will not be able to get Islamic banking services, right? But later, Alim model is no longer valid, because now he is a very strong supporter of social welfare done by the Islamic bank. Right? So there is an increasing acceptance of people from different backgrounds, whether bankers, Sharia scholars, people in the academia as well, that Islamic financial institution and other Islamic finance entities should play a bigger role for the benefit of the society, the environment, and so on. Okay, so these are some of the references that I have used to identify all those issues here. Right? So now I'm moving to the third component. So I hope we can go very quickly here. Okay, so Islamic finance is also keeping up with the overall global trends. So when the trend is now sustainable development goals, so everybody is talking about how Islamic finance can be used to improve the score of countries in terms of their sustainable development goals. In fact, the seller, the promoter of SDGs, UNDP, is also recognizing the potential role of Islamic finance. The reason is because in the bigger umbrella of Islamic finance, you also have Islamic social finance, which is previously is not part of the overall development finance for sustainable development. So now you have zakat, wakaf, and the amount is huge. The amount is huge. Of course, it's not the same level as the amount significantly improve the well-being of the people. Zakat discipline as well as wakaf. Okay. So what are the studies that we have here? Okay, I think one of the most important figure in Islamic finance and sustainable development is Dr. Mahmoud Muhyiddin. He's an Egyptian. He has worked in World Bank, now in IMF or UNDP, I don't know lah. Between these three institutions, he has been working. Whether previously he was in World Bank and then now in IMF or the other way around. But he is very active in promoting the use of Islamic finance in sustainable development because he worked in this institution. These multinational institutions, multilateral institutions for development, they are all selling SDGs now. And one of the things that he realized is financial development is not necessarily contributing to the well-being of the majority of the people. In the literature of financial development, it goes like when your financial market develops further, right? So this will improve the efficiency of channeling funds. This will increase the size of funds available, contributing to further economic growth and benefits the people, right? But who will be benefiting? So if there is financial exclusion, then those people will not be benefiting, right? So the concept of financial inclusion has been an important component for the role of Islamic finance to promote SDGs. For example, there is some concern that in countries where there is no Islamic financial services, people are afraid of putting their money in the fear of riba. We can find this argument in many writings, right? But whether this is true or not, I think it is only 4% true. Very small. So there are people who are not willing to engage in banking services because of they want to avoid riba, right? But this is a very small percentage. Okay, so but still, financial inclusion is very important. The problem with financial inclusion is the indicator. Right? So what we want to look at in order for us to say that the people are financially included. How much they borrow? So borrowing is not a good indicator, right? So savings, whether they are protected, can they have access to short-term loan for smoothing their consumption, yeah? Because some people can be in a desperate situation. If they are not able to get some access to credit, they can go down the vicious cycle, yeah? Going into predatory loans providers, yeah? which can be very romantic, yeah? Okay. Okay, this is another literature talking about financial inclusion. Okay. Okay, this is a book, quite a recent book by Professor Kabir Hassan, yeah, talking about Islamic finance and sustainable development. This is an edited book, so he just compiled a lot of papers on the theme of Islamic finance and sustainable development, yeah, and we are able to identify major themes of research, yeah, from this edited book. Yeah. So we are looking at the research area here. Okay, so this is why the book was compiled. Okay. Okay, these are some of the major highlights. Okay, so now everybody talking about redefining or reforming Islamic banking or Islamic finance to subscribe to the Maqasid of Sharia. Yeah. So everybody is talking about this. Yeah. Okay, so it must go beyond Sharia compliance and take into consideration other things, yeah, including the impact, yeah, to the society, and also to consider other things as well, circular economy, yeah, ethical investing, impact investing, yeah, ESG principles, yeah. Okay, so what else? Okay, what is it showing? Maqasid Syariah and mapping it to SDGs, right? Okay, so this is what many people has done. They are mapping, yeah, SDGs to the different Maqasid of Syariah. But we need to always remember, even if you write your thesis, you need to show that Maqasid predates SDG many years. Sometimes we are giving too much space, or we are giving too much priority to the narrative brought to us. Yeah? So yes, you can use it because this is something that is trending. Everybody is talking about it. It is easier for you to communicate your research. It is easier for you to publish as well, right? But in your writing, you must not put Maqasid as having a lower level compared to SDG. In fact, Maqasid predates SDG, and Maqasid cover a lot more components. Yeah? This one? Okay. Okay, never mind. We need to skip some of this. Alright. Okay, another thing that is important is to incorporate digitalization. Probably after this we have Prof. Sabri to talk about AI and technology. And this is very important, especially in areas where physical infrastructure is not well developed. Yeah? For example, in Africa, yeah? And then the ability of people to transfer money can change a lot of things. Yeah? I came across a study talking about how a very rural village survived because their children who went out to find jobs 1,000 miles away was able to transfer money to them using money money account platform. Yeah. So they were able to escape from poverty, from hunger, because these people are able to send back their money to their families and friends. Yeah. So this is only one aspect. Yeah. So there are so many other aspects to this. Digitalization. Yeah. Okay, and then to promote Islamic financial ecosystem and so on. Are you still awake? Yes. Very quiet. Okay, again, terima kasih. Yeah. So what we are trying to do is to survey research areas in this topic. Yeah. This is what I'm trying to do here, to give you an overall picture of what is currently being researched on. What else here? Okay, these are the 17 SDGs. Okay. Okay, what I'm trying to do here is to show that when we look at OIC countries, yeah, the level of SDG is not that great. Of course, we have some reservation on SDG as the indicator, but again, as we have discussed earlier, all of those SDGs are consistent with Maqasid Syariah as well, right? So there's no problem of us to gauge our performance by. Too small. Cannot see Ghana anyway. Indonesia, do you have here? Ada? Tak nampak. Okay lah. I thought I'm the only one who's blind here. So we are equal now. Never mind. Okay, never mind. Okay. So basically we want to show that, you know,
Ghana is 122.
122. So 75 out of 166. Yeah.
The last one is South Sudan.
160. You are in the first half. Yeah. First half. Okay. Where is Malaysia, by the way? Oh, Malaysia is in the first line. So better. Yeah, in this case. The last one is 78. You see, Indonesia is better. Okay, right. Despite the fact that you have how many thousands of islands, how many people, you have scored higher. Okay, this is. Okay, I took this from a presentation by Professor Dr. Muhammad Muhyiddin. He was highlighting the need for growth, right? So he plot some of these countries in terms of their growth rates and their SDG scores, and he concluded that if you want to achieve higher SDG performance, you must have growth. Yeah? So growth is something that is essential. Okay, this is how can we improve our SDG performance, and what are the research areas that we need to prioritize. Because all of you are researchers. We want to do a research that have a high impact, that can contribute to the betterment of the people and the country. Okay, so what I was trying to highlight is growth is essential, but what kind of growth? If you look at, for example, the United States, right? Of course, they suffer many crises as well, but over the years they have been developing. They have grown in terms of their size. But if you look at the inequality indicator, it becomes worse and worse. Of the population may be controlling berapa program 50%. Around 50% of the global wealth, 1%. In the 80s, we have this 20-80 rule. 20% of the population control 80% of the wealth. Right? But now 1% has already controlling 50% of the global wealth and inclusive growth. But inclusive growth is not enough. Yeah? Inclusive growth is not enough. We need to have pro-poor growth. Pro-poor growth. Both within the country as well as across the global, across the world. Because when we look at the crisis, every time there is a crisis, wealth becomes more and more concentrated. Inequality increases. The recent COVID-19, we saw a lot of people going down, yeah, becoming B40. Yeah. And then if you look at countries, some countries are recovering with the V shape. Some countries are recovering with the U shape. Some countries are L shape. Yeah. Decline becomes stagnant. And as a result, you have a K-shaped recovery. Some countries are going up, some countries are going down. So there will be divergence, increasing inequality between countries. This will cause problems in the future. Okay, another, so that is the important role of Islamic banks, to promote pro-poor growth. Yeah? So I think when